Are you ready? You ready? Good evening. Welcome to our City of Jacksonville City Council meeting, our regularly scheduled meeting for Tuesday. What do I do, Daniel?
Oh, that's him. I thought it was me. I think it's you.
For Tuesday, February the 8th, 2022 at 6 p.m. We do have a quorum present, so I will call us to order. Our invocation tonight will be brought to us by the Reverend Doug Wintermute, pastor at First United Methodist Church here in Jacksonville. If you'll stand and remain standing for our pledges.
Let us bow our heads. Most gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for the city of Jacksonville, for its community feeling, for its residents who exhibit grace and love. Be with the leaders of this city. May they have discernment and wisdom to make good decisions for the residents of the city. Give them not only discernment, but give them wisdom and courage to make those decisions that are pleasing to you. God, we are grateful for all the blessings our community has. We pray for safety over all of its residents and those who are first responders. Grant us your peace and grace as only you can. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Brother Doug. If you'll join me in the pledges. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now the Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Thank you. I'd like to make note that Commissioner Patrick Reagan and Sheriff Brent Dixon are here visiting with us again tonight, so we appreciate you guys showing up. Our next item is a special presentation of the Employer of the Month. That'll be presented by Mr. Shane Pace, Jacksonville Economic Development President.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor and Council. This evening I will be presenting the Employer of the Month Award to Texas National Bank. We do have two members of their staff here. We have Robin Batten and Dylan Rodriguez. If you'd like to come up. We have a few more members. Can I get your name? Brady, I'm shaking. Adriana? All right. So every month we award the Employer of the Month to an employer here in Jacksonville that really kind of stands out. And Texas National Bank, I'm assuming most of you have had an opportunity to meet Dylan out of the community. I've been here for a few months now, and I've seen him many, many times. Texas National Bank has participated with the Chamber in their Christmas shopping event, based on their staff time and capabilities to helping them with calculating all of the receipts that were spent at local businesses to help just boost our local economy. They put countless hours into the work that they do to serve us. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over if you guys have anything you'd like to add. We just thank you for being part of the community and everything you do.
We'd just like to thank Jacob for his acknowledgement, also for all the hard work and all everything that y'all do to put into the community and to help grow the community. Also, I'd like to thank all of the wonderful employees that we have for making Texas National Bank such an awesome workplace, and we look forward to another successful year in 2022.
Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you, guys. Our next item is citizens' participation. This is where we set aside some time to hear concerns from the citizens. They generally fill out a comment sheet. Did we get any? Did not get any? Does anybody want to citizens participate that didn't fill out a comment sheet? Seeing none, we will go to the next item. Our next item is our consent agenda. Items under our consent agenda require little or no deliberations by the council, and you can see those items A through H there in your packet. Just some regular old stuff that we do each month. And I will entertain a motion.
I make a motion we approve the consent agenda.
We have a motion by Councilman Hubert Robinson,
A second.
second by Mayor Pro Tem Rob Goen. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. Item number 7 is a presentation of the racial profiling report by the Police Chief Joe Williams. You have any comments, sir?
No, I'll just say that this is required by state law, and I'll
Okay.
turn it over to Chief Williams. I know he'll do a
Perfect.
great job.
Good.
Mayor and Council, the Texas Code of Criminal Procedures 2.131 requires law enforcement agencies that conduct traffic stops report the number of contacts in the racial, ethnic background of the drivers that were stopped. We have to do that annually. The law enforcement agency must report the statistics to the Texas Commission of Law Enforcement and the local governing body prior to March 1st of each year. On January 3rd, 2022, I submitted an open records request with the Texas Department of Public Safety for racial and ethnic breakdown of all persons with a Texas driver's license within the zip code of 75766. And that is the data I used as comparatives of our traffic stops. White drivers with the 7576 zip code represent about 75% of the population. The Jacksonville Police Department conducted 7,164 traffic stops in 2021. I've compared the data from those traffic stops to our driver's license data to see if bias exists. White drivers were stopped 57.3% of the time, black drivers were stopped 17.8%, and others, that's how the Texas classifies them, just 23.5%. Those drivers that were stopped and were subjected to searches of their persons or vehicles were 3.2% of all stops. Whites were searched 1.7%, blacks were searched 0.7%, and others at a rate of 0.06 of all stops. The Jacksonville Police Department is a recognized police department by the Texas Police Chiefs Association. Many of the standards the department meet to achieve the recognition status are centered around policies and practices to ensure and prevent bias-based policing. All employees are aware of the policies and practices and receive training throughout the year regarding bias-based policing. I've studied the data very extensively and do not believe the department to be engaged in bias-based policing practices. These statistics mirror other cities I've worked in, and nothing stands out to me as a concern. In 2021, we did not receive any complaints alleging bias following a traffic stop. If you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them. Thank you.
Thank you. Sounds like we passed with flying colors.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Item number 8 is to consider of the proposed purchase of 3 2021 Chevrolet Tahoe police pursuit vehicles not to exceed $180,000. Mr. James.
Sure, I'll run down a quick synopsis, and then if you have any questions for the chief. But staff is seeking city council approval to purchase 3 Chevy Tahoe police pursuit vehicles for an amount not to exceed $180,000. 2 of the units would replace existing heavy-duty trucks being used by members of the police department's command staff, and 1 would replace a Ford Explorer recently totaled in a pursuit. Pending approval, American Rescue Plan Act Coronavirus State and Local Fiscal Recovery Funds, or SLFRF, will be used to fund the acquisition, and the budget will be amended to reflect this expenditure. The city is set to receive $3.67 million of these monies, and to date we've received half of the funds, or $1.835 million. The city is scheduled to receive the second tranche and final payment in August of 2022. Preliminary direction from the Department of Treasury regarding the use of these funds provided multiple allowable categories of expenditure, including broadband facilities and water and wastewater infrastructure. In May of this year, or of last year, I apologize, the Treasury issued interim final rules regarding the use of these funds, which greatly expanded the use, especially to municipalities like ours that received less than $10 million. Per the excerpt on the slide, the purchase of fire and police vehicles is an allowable expense, and additionally, the President of the United States recently issued a memo encouraging the use of these funds to bolster police efforts. If approved, the city expects to take delivery of the Tahoes by June of this year, and Chief is here to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, these 3 Tahoes are not coming out of our funds.
They are the city's funds, but they're coming specifically.
They're not coming
right.
out of our budget. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, we're
They
spending
weren't budgeted prior to this because, again, initially these funds, these SLRF funds, were very restrictive.
Right.
Essentially, for a community like ours, it was going to be water and wastewater only.
Right.
Now there's a different direction from the federal government, especially for cities under the 10 million. So we will do a budget amendment, but that's correct. I mean, it'll
Okay.
come out of the SLRF funds.
Right.
Right.
I mean, what do we have budgeted in real life for police vehicles this year?
I think two.
2 vehicles,
Two.
one which we've already taken delivery of. We ordered it early last year.
Okay.
And then there's one still on order now. When it arrives, who knows?
Okay. So you get 5 new cars this year.
And I think it's
Well,
hard
we-
if they're to find.
Yeah.
We were only able to locate 3 in the
3.
state of Texas. If we can find more, then we'll come back for further consideration.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? I'll entertain a motion then on item number 8.
I'll make a motion that we approve the purchase of 3 2021 Chevrolet Tahoe police pursuit vehicles not to exceed $180,000.
I would
Have a
like to make
motion.
a correction.
Motion, yes, sir.
Just for clarity, I believe that they're 2022s.
2022.
Oh, there, good deal.
That's good.
I was wondering why we were getting 21s, but I thought maybe you found a sale.
All right, so we have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Rob Goen. I think I heard a second by Councilman Hubert Robinson. Any other questions? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. Thank you, Chief. Item number 9 is a public hearing. It's a continuation of a public hearing for a request for a special use permit to allow for a cell tower on 10th Street. You want to go ahead?
No,
Oh,
please.
We had opened this public hearing at our last meeting. We had continued it to this meeting. I think the gentleman that was interested has withdrawn that request. So we will just officially close that public hearing at this time and move on to the next item. Is that right, Counselor? Perfect. Perfect. Very good. Item number 10 is a public hearing to hear and receive public input regarding a zone change request at 600 College Avenue. You want to give us a little background there?
Sure, Mayor, Council, this item in public hearing to consider a rezoning request of one lot on College Avenue totaling approximately 4/10 of an acre. The subject property is located at the southeast corner of the College and Sunset Avenue intersection, and the applicant is requesting the lot be rezoned from the P Planned Development Zoning District to the C Multifamily Low Density Zoning District. Notice of the public hearing held at the January 18th Planning and Zoning Commission meeting and tonight's hearing were published in the January 4th edition of the Jacksonville Progress. Notices were also mailed to the properties within 200 feet of the subject property, and no formal opposition was received. After hearing the request at the January 18th Planning and Zoning Commission meeting, the Commission passed a motion in support of the rezoning request with a 5-0 vote, and the applicant or the representative is here this evening to answer any questions you may have.
Okay. So I will open up that public hearing, so if you are here and would like to speak in favor of or against, if you'll come to the podium, state your name and address. Okay. Seeing none, we'll close that portion of the public hearing, and I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Make a motion that we approve the zone change request from P Plan Development to C Multifamily Low Density at 600 College Avenue.
We have a motion by Councilwoman Mindy Galick to approve that. A second by Councilman Hubert Robinson. Any questions you may have? None? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. Item number 11 is another public hearing to hear and receive input regarding a zone change request on the 400 block of Talley Nichols Drive. Mr. James.
Yes, Mayor, Council, this item in public hearing are to consider a rezoning request of 2 parcels on Talley Nichols Drive, totaling approximately 5.5 acres. The subject property is approximately 1/10 of a mile west of 69 and directly east of the Jacksonville Pines apartment complex. The applicant is requesting the lots be rezoned from the E Multifamily High Density Zoning District to the A Single Family Zoning District. Notice of the public hearing for tonight and the one held at the P&Z meeting on January 18th were published in the January 4th edition of the Progress. Notices were mailed to the properties within 200 feet of the subject property, and no formal opposition was received. This request as well received a 5-0 vote of support at the January 18th Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. I don't know if we have an applicant here this evening. Oh, we have a representative at the applicant, so if you'd like to make any comments.
I just thought I would show you satellite images of it, if you want me to give them.
Sure, that'd be great, you bet.
For as many of us should have.
Okay. I've got one in my packets. I'll
Right, yeah.
pass. I've got one in mine.
Yeah, I'm
Yes,
good.
sir.
Thank you, Mike.
So I will open it up, the public hearing for anybody that wants to speak in favor of or against. I guess our first speaker is,
Name and address, please.
yeah, please.
Yeah, I'm Mike McEwen, Cherokee Real Estate. In the interest of full disclosure, I do stand to personally benefit from the sale. The land is actually owned by the apartment complex next door, and they actually, we had it for sale for about 10 years, and finally somebody came along with a good plan for it, and they will eventually be building some nice single-family homes, and there's nice elevation on that land also, so people will have nice views from their homes.
Okay. Any others wants to make a comment for or against? Okay. Seeing none, we'll close that portion of the public hearing, and I'll entertain a motion. We can discuss if need be.
I make a motion, we approve the zone change request from E multifamily to A single family in the 400 block of Talley Nichols Drive.
Okay. We have a motion by Councilwoman Mindy Gallick. I'll second that motion by Mayor Randy Gorham. So now any discussion that we might have? None? Okay. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. Our next item is to have a public hearing to hear and receive input regarding a special use permit request to allow for a residence in a commercial building at 400 West Larissa. Mr. James.
Yes, Mayor, City Council, this item in public hearing are to consider a special use permit request at 400 West Larissa Street for a residential unit incidental or accessory to a primary use permitted in this district. Notice of the public hearing held at the January 18th Planning and Zoning Commission meeting and the public hearing to be conducted this evening were published in the January 4th edition of the Jacksonville Progress. Notices were mailed to the properties within 200 feet of the subject property, and no formal opposition was received. After hearing the request at the January 18th meeting, the Planning and Zoning Commission passed a motion in support of the rezoning request with a 5-0 vote, and the applicant or the representative is here this evening to answer any questions the council may have.
Okay. So I will open up that public hearing for anyone that wants to come to the podium and speak in favor of or against. If you would come forward and give us your name. Any for or against? There is none. So I will close that portion of the public hearing and entertain a motion. We have to have a motion to discuss, correct?
Yes.
I make a motion, we discuss this item further.
No, you have a motion to approve or to disapprove, and then it can be seconded, and then we can have discussion, and then depending on which route that we want to go, you can have the motion withdrawn.
Let's see.
Just make it, Mandy.
I'll make a motion, I can make a motion, right?
Sure.
To get the ball, I'll make a motion that we approve the SUP request on 400 West Larissa Street. I need a second.
One second.
All right, now we have a second by Councilman Hubert Robinson. Now, we can have discussion. And we may or may not change our mind, correct?
That's right.
Okay. So, anybody, go ahead.
I just felt like we needed more information and that we needed to drill down a little bit more on the specifics and the plans.
Okay.
And whether or not this would be setting a precedent that we do or may not want to pursue.
Right. Okay.
I mean, do you all have more information that you can provide us on just more what your plans are?
Yes.
Lovely.
Good.
We have questions.
Okay. I am Mary Trujillo. And we owned the building, and we were asked in 2019 to, because it was such an eyesore for the city, that we tear it down or do something with it. So we decided to do something with it because the building's been there for so long and just really looking bad. I have a boutique, and 3 miles outside the city limit. I thought if I build my boutique there, then I would be more visible. I would get better customer service, and I could just do a better job there. So then I decided that I wanted to live in the rest of the house or the rest of the building, because it is a big building. And I can't have my boutique in the whole building because my boutique is very small. But 1/3 of the building would be my boutique, the other 2/3 would be my house. That is my plan. I don't know what else.
No, that's good.
Yeah.
I think that's great. Yeah. Okay.
Good.
Anybody have any questions for her?
So you said 1/3 boutique, 2/3 home. Okay.
And you've submitted, I assume, plans to
I
the,
did.
on what it kind of looks like inside and that kind of thing?
What about the parking?
We do have parking. That's already available. It's right across the street from the AA building. That's where they used to park, but they're still using it to park there, but it belongs to us. So that would be my parking. Plus also, we have added a little bit more parking by having some new construction, concrete construction built.
What's, I mean, is it, so I'm kind of confused here on the property. The property that backs up to West Rush Street.
That is empty. It would stay empty for a while.
Is that somebody else's property?
It's ours also.
Okay.
We own lot 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8.
Okay.
there. And that is lot 7.
Okay. So when we're doing this, we're just approving a zone change for that lot, not the entire piece of property.
That's correct. You're actually approving the special use permit. The underlying zoning remains because as I stated earlier in the workshop, you know, as the property transitions, potentially the SUP comes off and you would still have your underlying G commercial specific on this parcel. Yes.
I think some of our concern could be because of the mixed use, you've got a commercial business with someone actually living in that commercial building, which generally doesn't occur. You know, look, for example, if there was a fire, and if the firemen didn't know that there could be some people in there, they just might start spraying, not knowing that there's some residents that are living in there.
I sold my house that I am currently still staying in. I sold it to fix this building up. So I'm kind of homeless. So if it came down to it, I would have that as my whole home and not a business. Right now, I am working out of another building.
Have you thought about relocating your salon or boutique downtown?
It is kind of, it's right inside the city limit now. I just recently moved it to across from the Bolero. I call it the Pink Chandelier. It used to be the old Jacksonville Meat Market. And that's where I have my salon now and my
Okay,
boutique.
I know what you're talking about. Yes.
Yeah. So that's why I'm saying if it came right down to it, I would rather have it as my home and not my business. Like I said, I do have my business somewhere else right now.
Right. And would that be allowable? We would just, if that was the consideration of the council, we would deny the special use permit, but then could she use that as her residence?
It would
The way
require
it's zoned?
rezoning as well to
Okay.
single family or something along those lines.
Yeah.
'Cause my concerns were more driven towards the Highway 79 side of that property. The Larissa side of that property, from a mixed use standpoint, doesn't throw as many just flags in my brain as the other. You know, with that being a lesser travel street, with that being, and with the, you know, with the permit or the special use permit only being for that one building, you know, she still has room on the backside of that property for more retail development on a major thoroughfare.
Yeah.
Sure.
But from the standpoint of, and I guess this would be a Randall and a Public Works discussion on the plans of it all, you know, the commercial wiring, the, you know, everything that would go into, is that property, is it over 5,000 square feet?
What, the property?
The whole,
that-
the building?
I
Okay.
don't think so.
So you're gonna save a little there on
Yeah.
fire suppression and things like that?
Right, yeah.
Sir? Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I think our concern probably as a group is having a residence located inside a commercial building, you know. But chances are it might be okay long-term, but you'd hate to have something happen that, it's like, oops, we wish we wouldn't have allowed that, you know. Nothing personal, we're looking after your health and safety type thing. Especially since, but you'd have to come back and rezone it residential if you were to change that.
It wouldn't be, we would rezone the property itself rather than a special use permit
Correct.
allowing for
Right.
the dual use.
Right. And then she just have to keep her boutique either where she is now or find another location downtown, get some help with Jedco for a DRP grant or something. Yeah, I think the hangup is just the business inside a residence, probably. You got any comments, James, that would help us? Not to put you on the spot.
No, really, I don't. I mean, I think you've discussed some valid points, and we've had several of these requests come forward over the last couple, half a year or year, so it may be something we want to look at in the future, how we handle these. But this particular request is the city council's discretion.
Right.
So is the building permit, is that issued for a commercial business? Or is it, does it specify, I guess, your building permit?
No.
Okay. Okay.
Is there any additional building requirements, being that it's mixed use, that should have to comply with to get the certificate of occupancy? And I'll refer to the Corner Brain Trust. Okay. Okay. Okay.
Could our attorney give us some advice on that? Legal advice?
Probably not.
It's legal either way, if you
It's legal either
confirm
way.
it or deny it. Each
Or we can
each
table it
special
and talk
use-
some more
Yeah,
and do a little
exactly.
more
This-
exploring.
So
and-
the three options that I can see right now
Okay.
are, you could either vote on the motion that is currently has been made
Right.
to approve the special use permit, and or the motion can be withdrawn, and another motion can be made to deny it, if that route were to go. Or the third option would be to withdraw the motion with the consent of the second and reopen the public hearing, then continue the public hearing until March 8th, our next city council meeting, at which time we can take it up again after some additional exploration by staff and the applicants.
Okay, that's great, okay. So since I made the motion, I'm gonna request that
You can withdraw your motion.
I'm gonna withdraw my motion,
And Mr.
subject to the approval of the second.
There you go, that's right.
Who made the second?
Mr. Robinson.
Can you remove mine, too?
Well, you just have to
Yes,
agree.
you have
that
to
it-
agree,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
To remove my motion.
okay. And then request that we continue this public hearing until a date certain, which is March 8th.
Reopen
Reopen
and
the public
continue.
hearing and continue it till March 8th. And that way that'll give us additional time.
Correct.
To get more information.
Correct.
Okay. That's my new motion. Is that right? I'll make that as a
Yes.
motion.
I'll second.
Okay. Okay, we have a motion by Mayor Randy Gorham and a second by Mayor Pro Tem Rob Goen. Does everybody understand the motion?
Yes.
That we're not
I
issuing
mean,
it?
we're
we just
reopening the public hearing
want- Yeah, so the
and
public
continuing
hearing.
it until March 8th
Right, to gather more information.
while we gather some more information.
Correct. It's not a no or a yes, it's just
Yeah.
we need more information.
I mean, yeah.
Okay. All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. Very good.
Who was the second on
Mayor Pro Tem Rob Goen. All right. Item number 13 is another public hearing, and the last public hearing. A public hearing to receive public input regarding a May 7, 2022 referendum election on proposed project that involves the sale of property commonly referred to as Kiwanis Park at Lake Jacksonville. Mr. James, you have any preliminary information?
I certainly do, Mayor.
And then we'll open the hearing.
The purpose of this item is to receive input and call an election related to the sale of city-owned property on Lake Jacksonville. Per Texas Local Government Code, the sale of city land previously owned, held, or claimed as a park must be approved by a majority of the votes received at an election. The proceeds of the sale must be used only to acquire and improve other parkland. Pending approval of this resolution, the city will seek voter approval to sell 7 lots totaling 4.1 acres on Lake Jacksonville, directly south of the Lake Jacksonville Dam. The area located outside of the city limits is known locally as Kiwanis Park. Proceeds from a potential sale are estimated at over $1 million. A portion of the proceeds would be used as the city's matching grant related to the Texas Parks and Wildlife Boating Access Grant Improvement Project at the Lake Jacksonville concession area. Construction on this project is slated to commence this fall.
Okay.
And you see there on the slide, the property, the subject property, the 4.1 acres has been platted as 7 lots ranging from approximately half an acre to 7/10 of an acre. And then a little bit of background on the boating access grant is that it's approximately a $1.8 million project, of which the city would be responsible for a $460,000 match. And you see some of the project highlights on the east side of the slide, or on the right-hand side of the slide there.
There you go. Okay, so I will open up this public hearing for anybody that wants to talk and comment for or against. If you'll come to the podium, state your name and address. Okay. Seeing none, I will close that portion of the public, or close the public hearing and entertain a motion.
I make a motion, we approve the resolution calling an election regarding the above referenced referendum election for the property known as Kiwanis Park.
Okay.
And I'll second.
We have a motion by Councilwoman Mindy Gallick, a second by Mayor Pro Tem Rob Goen. Any discussion at this point? Okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. Item number 14, I think we're just going to pass, delete, or is that what you do, pass? We're not going to kick that one down the road to the March meeting probably. Item number 15 is consideration of an ordinance abandoning an unused portion of Wilson Street between South Bonner and South Patton Streets. Mr. James?
All right, do I need to leave?
Probably.
Yes.
Bye.
Yes, Mayor, City Council, the owner of 101 South Bonner Street, Sadler's Kitchen, Mayor Pro Tem Rob Goen, recently purchased land from the railroad directly north of the restaurant. The closing documents reflected a portion of Wilson Street extending to the west of South Bonner Street. The portion of Wilson Street extending west of Bonner Street serves no municipal purpose and may be abandoned to allow the business owner to expand without impeding city right-of-way. The city attorney, Brett Brewer, is happy to answer any questions you may have.
So it's my understanding the city actually never really owned that parcel of land?
It's really interesting in that that portion of land that extends from South Bonner Street toward South Patton Street is located, as you can tell by the red outline there, on the map. It's a famous map for real estate attorneys in this area called the M.L. Earls map, 1914 map of Greater Jacksonville. However, there's no record that the street was ever dedicated as a public street, and it is not needed for a public use, and therefore it constitutes a public charge without a corresponding benefit, and should be abandoned and vacated.
So if we abandon it and vacate it, then the person that owns it's the railroad? Or,
As of this day, I believe it is.
and then the interested party would have to purchase that parcel from the railroad?
Correct.
But without abandoning it, it's not for sale?
Well, it's
We can't
subject to the rights of the city for a public street, and would be not able to be developed. And
Right.
in this way, we can add it back to the tax rolls and allow it to be developed for a commercial use.
Okay. Okay, so I'll entertain a motion, and then we can discuss it.
I make a motion, we approve the ordinance abandoning an unused portion of Wilson Street between South Bonner and South Patton Street.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilwoman Mindy Gallick, second by Councilman Hubert Robinson. Any discussion that we need to have? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. Yeah, thank you, Greg. Item number 16 is a consideration of a resolution ratifying the terms and conditions of the sales agreement to purchase the clubhouse at Cherokee Ranch Golf Club and authorizing James Hubbard to execute the necessary closing documents.
Yes, Mayor, City Council, at the January 11th meeting, the City Council approved an expenditure of $1.6 million by the Jacksonville Economic Development Corporation to purchase approximately 187 acres of real property known as Cherokee Ranch Golf Course. This was the golf course itself. In partnership, the city has committed $750,000 to purchase the existing clubhouse facility utilizing hotel occupancy funds with the ultimate intent of establishing a civic center. Hot funds are restricted to expenditures that will result in local overnight hotel stays. Taxes generated by hotel stays. The approximately 15,000 square foot facility is located on just over 3 acres and had previously served in part as an event center. The city performed multiple inspections to evaluate the condition of the structure. These included a general commercial real estate inspection, roof inspection, Texas Accessibility and Americans with Disability Act assessment, termite inspection, and an assessment of the HVAC and refrigeration components. Approval of this item will authorize me to execute the necessary closing documents for the purchase, and we expect that to occur within about 2 weeks later this month. You'll see the breakdown there, the full cost for the course and clubhouse being just over $2 million. JEDCO responsible for almost $1.3 million of that, with the city $500 due at closing, $250 due back to JEDCO over a 7-year term. We're resulting in about a $36,000 a year payment to JEDCO. And the Men's Golf Association, which the city had previously granted about $35,000 a year for 5 years. They're contributing $250,000 at closing, and then the city will discontinue that annual general fund payment of $35,000 to the Men's Golf Association. And here's a few pictures of the facility itself. The 3 acres that the city would be purchasing do include the parking and the drive approach and driveway all the way out to Highway 79.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion.
Go ahead.
You won't? I'll make a motion that we consider a resolution, or a resolution ratifying the terms and conditions of the sales agreement to purchase the clubhouse.
Okay. We have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Rob Goen,
Second.
second by Councilwoman Mindy Gallick. Any discussion?
Nope.
No?
Hubert, we're buying a civic center.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll see. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
1.
Hearing one, opposition. Motion carries 3-1. Very good. Item number 17 is to consider recommendation to award a contract for the Texas Department of Agricultural Downtown Revitalization Grant Project to the low bidder, Belt Construction, for an amount not to exceed $1,342,110.50, contingent upon approval by the JEDCO Board of Directors to input additional match necessary above the grant funds.
Yes, Mayor, thank you for that emphasis. At the January 11th meeting, City Council directed staff to reject all bids that were received for the downtown sidewalk project and to rebid that project. The project was re-advertised and bids were opened on February 1st. The price from the new lowest bidder is approximately $100,000 less than the bids previously rejected. City Council approval of award to the low bidder, Belt Construction, is contingent upon approval by the Jacksonville Economic Development Corporation Board of Directors. I believe they'll be considering the expenditure at their February 17th meeting. And this project is funded 100% by JEDCO with a $500,000 grant from the Texas Department of Agriculture. So no city funds involved in this project. We're simply just working with the grant administrator as the eligible party for the grant.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion that we award a contract for the Texas Department of Agriculture Downtown Revitalization Grant Project to the bidder, Belt Construction, contingent upon JEDCO's approval.
Okay, we have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Rob Goen. I'll make that second. Oh, okay. Or Hubert Robinson. Councilman Robinson makes the second. Now, is there any discussion?
So that puts JEDCO in it, we're $250,000 more than what they had.
Maybe more.
Shane would have to get into the specifics, but roughly, I think it may be a little bit more than that.
Yeah.
We were at 400, so 300, yeah.
Somewhere in there.
that
Yes, sir, so
neighborhood.
it's about 250,000. When you add in the contingency of about 135, which is 10%, it puts us roughly around
Okay.
420.
Yeah. And I think,
That's in addition to what has already been authorized.
Right.
right, yeah. And I think the city council has to approve your expenditures, right? This is kind of why we're doing this.
Well, actually, the reason we're doing this is to award the bid
Okay.
is the action tonight. The award of the project has already been granted by City Council, and
Right.
the authorization to expend up to the amount that we need to expend has been authorized as well.
Okay.
So we're good to go. If their board agrees
board,
to
yeah.
spend this extra money,
Right.
we're good to go and,
Right. And then we don't have
That's
to wait
correct.
another month
right.
for our
That's
approval.
correct.
Right.
Since there's a timeline, I think we have a representative from,
In our original authorization, as you'll note on the golf course, sometimes we like to add just a little bit to give us any wiggle room.
Sure.
If need be, when you get into these big contracts like this, things change at the last minute, so we don't have to go back through the notification process or waiting for another council meeting.
yeah. It's my understanding we have to spend those grant funds by a due date, and this, Mr. Haber, do you think we're still in, we're good to get it, make it? Yeah, okay, cool. All right, I'll entertain a motion.
What's the motion?
We already did.
Oh, we have the motion? Perfect, okay. That's why we were discussing, right?
Do we need to
I
say
thought we was having
aye?
another public hearing. All right, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. All right, number 18, consideration of a request to close Commerce Street from Ragsdale to Natchez Street and South Jackson Street under the overpass for a barbecue fest, October 9th, 2022.
Yes, Mayor, City Council, very straightforward. You see a little exhibit there on the screen, but there is a request to close down Commerce Street from Ragsdale east to Natchez Street and then under the overpass for an event to be held on Saturday, April 9th. The closure request is from 10 p.m. on the 8th, the day prior to the event, to midnight on the 9th. So it sounds like we're going to have a pretty good event down there. We do have several representatives of the event here should you have any questions. And I will say that proceeds from the event, it will be a ticketed event, go to support the Jacksonville Police Association and the Citizens Police Academy Alumni Association.
Okay. So I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve the request to close Commerce Street for the Flamin' J Barbecue Festival on April 9th.
We have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Rob Goen,
Second.
second by Councilwoman Mindy Gallick. Any discussion we may need? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion does carry. Number 19, open forum for mayor and council. Anybody have a item you want to talk about? No? Mayor Pro Tem Rob Goen and I are currently enrollees in the Citizens Police Academy course. We've had 3 meetings on Monday night.
So much fun, thank you.
It is. I told Chief Williams he's missed his calling. He should be an instructor. He thought I was going to say a preacher.
Kind of like a comedy defensive driving
Yeah.
course, sort of.
Yeah, but it's been very, very enlightening to learn what those guys and gals actually do. And I'm really glad that I spend 3 hours every Monday night at the new complex. It's been
Feels
well
like
worth
15 minutes.
It did last night.
Really?
It was 15 minutes. So that's all I have. Just kudos to that. City manager's report.
Sure, Mayor, City Council, just a couple logos. I have a feeling what people are most excited about on there. But we'll chase this for this evening. I do want to say that we are fully and officially in the new public safety complex. Fire's now there, stationing out of there, and we're working to coordinate a public event to come see the facility. It's a phenomenal asset to the community and to our public safety officers and officials. Starting on the left-hand side of your screen there, I want to commend and thank our Sesquicentennial Committee. They've been meeting fairly regularly, at least once a month for the past about 6 months. The council established the committee to plan Jacksonville's 150th birthday bash, as they're calling it. It's going to be kind of a week-long series of events starting on October 15th and then culminating with a day-long celebration on Saturday, October 22nd downtown. There'll also be events throughout the year. We'll have an opening of a time capsule that's over in Hazel Tilton Park in May of this year. And I know the city will be putting out a press release summarizing some of these opportunities in the near future. The RAVE Mobile Safety Alert, if you go to jacksonvilletx.org/alerts, you're able to sign up for that. The city partnered with the East Texas Council of Governments to roll out that service right before last week's imminent storm, which didn't really produce too much ice for us, but did other areas of the state. So I encourage people to sign up for that. I know we've had several hundred sign up already from advertisement on Facebook. We're going to push that out more extensively through some direct mailers to most of the homes here in Jacksonville. I think it's maybe made the paper via a press release. It hopefully is not something we have to use very often, but for severe weather, tornadoes, potential active shooter, potential boil water notices, those types of things where we really want to push information out, it's going to give us another tool. Previously, the city had used a similar system that was code red. You may have signed up for that in the past. That's no longer, so make sure you take the time to sign up and set your personal preferences for RAVE. The city rolled out a new logo for the Jacksonville Library, a place for everyone being the slogan. That was designed in-house by our communications team and our librarians, so thank them for that, bringing some color to it. Some additional things going on at the library. They brought back their coin-operated pay-for-print system, which means a lot to a lot of people. And you used to have to swipe your card and it would put a $5 hold on your debit card, and then you may use print 1 5-cent and wait to get your $4.95 back later. So now you can just throw a nickel in there and print a page. So we got that back in operation, and we also, more importantly, added an automated door to the west entrance on the facility to increase accessibility. That's closest to the handicap spots and ramps, and so now it's really easy to get into the building. And then on the center there, Starbucks is going to be joining the lineup along Highway 69. Just south of Tradewinds. I know there's been some speculation on Facebook circulating about where it will be or won't be, but you see the demolition activity. We anticipate some vertical construction in the relatively near future. Want to give a lot of credit to JEDCO for working with the development team responsible for bringing that here. They worked closely with them throughout the process, and they also did a demolition grant to make the costs a little bit more palatable to get down, to assemble the 3 properties. There was actually 3 parcels there. And 2 fairly large structures to take down, and a lot of past uses that made that a very hard site to develop from an environmental standpoint. You had, I think, a dry cleaner, a tire shop, a gas station, and a lot of things that take a lot of creativity and assessments on the dirt. So they'll be joining the lineup, but I would be remiss not to mention some of the locally owned coffee shops that we have in town now. The one at the Postmasters, which is there at the Landmark facility. It's phenomenal. And then recently we had the opening of Neighbors there on South Main. So I walk to those pretty regularly here from City Hall and encourage you to patronize them as well. I'll make one final comment, and that is that Mr. Jack Brewer, a former well-respected police chief here in Jacksonville from 1982 to 1985, has passed away. His visitation is Thursday, February 10th from 5 to 7 p.m. at the Autry Carroll Funeral Home in Athens. So that's in Athens, not here in Jacksonville. The service will be the following day, February 11th at 1 p.m., again at the Autry Carroll Funeral Home in Athens.
Very good.
Nothing else.
Nothing else? Okay. Then item number 21 is closed executive session, City Hall Conference Room per Open Meetings Act per Texas Government Code Section 551.071. We'll consult with our city attorney, and 551.072, real property, and then we will reconvene here for any action if necessary. So we will go into closed executive session at 6:50. Thanks for your... Okay. We'll reconvene in our regular session at 8:01 out of executive session, and I'll entertain a motion.
You'll entertain a motion, okay?
I will.
I make a motion to authorize the city attorney to negotiate an agreement to revise the industrial park lease for Coilco Tool and Die, Inc. to 2% of the appraised value on the Cherokee County tax roll for the land only.
Okay.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Councilwoman Mindy Gellick and a second by Councilman Rob Goen. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries.
And the second motion is to authorize the city manager to purchase real property of 0.051 acres near Highway 79 East for administrative purposes.
I'll second.
Okay, we have another motion by Councilwoman Mindy Gellick, seconded by Councilman Rob Goen. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. And we will adjourn our city council meeting at 8:03.